Hi everyone. It is Sunday evening, almost 6 o'clock, and I'm like feeling so good today, and so I turn on the video and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's what I look like, and I'm doing a video right now, but this is my weekend, I guess. This is how I haven't put makeup on since Friday, and my hair's been up, and I got some more purple, my hair. You can kind of see it just a little bit. So now it looks a lot better than it was like this weird reddy brown like fox color. So that didn't really go very well with black. Anyways, just wanted to do a video because I just have quite a bit to talk about. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just feeling so good now, and I just feel like it's always bad news, and now I'm really happy that it's always good news and always like new things and all of that. So I'm going to a new acupuncturist this week, and I'm gonna check that out because I didn't really talk about my last experience with my second acupuncturist, but I just didn't really. They kind of left me in the dark about a couple things, about like particularly the cost, and then the the people there were kind of like high on life, and I don't really gel well with people like that. So I'm trying a new one this week, and I think it's like there's only 3 in Lethbridge. So this is my last opportunity to find an office that works. So we'll see how that goes. I've had a whole ton of solid poos since my last video, so that's fantastic. And I'm only going once a day right now. I'm starting to introduce things back into my diet now that I'm doing so well. So New Year's Eve I had a half a glass of champagne. So that's the first alcohol I've had since any of this started. I wasn't a big drinker before, so it was never really a big concern, but I just felt like, celebrating and bringing in the new year on a good note. So half a glass of champagne mixed with some pineapple juice definitely was really good, and I didn't react, so that was great. Another thing that I've tried is tomato. I had tomato sauce for the first time today. Everyone knows how really awful it's been not having tomato. So I had some tomato sauce today and I haven't reacted. Obviously we'll wait and see, make sure I have my normal one tomorrow. Yesterday I tried eggs again, fried eggs, and I didn't react at all. And I had them for like an early dinner, and I didn't go until the next morning. So that's perfectly fine. I was really happy with that. So the next thing I'm going to try, sorry I'm looking down a bunch. I do like a notepad on my phone with all the things I want to talk about. It's really scattered, so I'm like trying to delete everything. Anyways, so the next things I'm going to try are some lettuce and have like a really plain salad. And then after that, I'm going to try having popcorn, because I know one person who has colitis. Well, I know them, I guess, through people. Someone that at my work has popcorn once a week. So I think I might try that, just have like a really small popcorn, and see how that goes. Making my very first baking, I guess, since this. I made banana cookies with my gluten-free flour. And they definitely do not taste as good as they did. It was just, they say that with the gluten-free flour you should try just gluten-free recipes, but this recipe is like a banana cookie recipe that I've had for like the longest time, and I've yet to be able to find anything like it out there. They're my favorite banana cookies ever. So I just replaced the regular flour in the recipe with the gluten-free flour, and so they're not as good, but they're still like a little treat for myself, and there's a lot of sugar in them, but they're still good. And I had my first veggie burger tonight. I didn't really like it, but it filled me up, and that's kind of hard to do lately, especially like I'm not really sick of chicken yet. I don't look forward to eating chicken, but I'm not like so sick of it that I can't choke it down. So I'm trying different things. So I did try veggie burger, and I didn't really like it, but it did fill me up. So if I can just like load it with mashed potatoes on top, that's perfectly fine with me. Oh, another thing that I was going to try, now that I'm starting to feel better, is I want a steak, like a really, really good steak. And that's not something I'm going to be doing often, but it's something that I want to have, like, now. After that veggie burger, I'm like, oh man, I would like a steak. at my counseling appointment this week. Went really well. She still just says that I'm doing so well. And so I told her like the stress reducer that she taught me has really been working. I've used it lots. And so she's taught me some other things to help with at work. So I have like a little sticky note on my desk at work of like 5 things to try to reduce my irritability and reduce my stress. So I should have brought the list or taken a picture of it or something. But the first is to breathe, because sometimes you forget you're not consciously breathing, you're just unconsciously breathing. And so that's the first one, is just to breathe and like let out a sigh and breathe normally. On the second, find my happy place, because that's working for me. One of them is music, which at my job, that's kind of, I still have to keep taking calls if I'm ready, but if I'm stressed, then it's better in the long run for me to just take a minute, listen to some music. She also said take a walk. So for me, that's unfortunately at my job is like an extreme. Like if I'm like, okay, I need to get up away from my desk, and that fortunately doesn't happen very often. I think ever since I've been there, I've only had to get up and take a walk maybe 2 or 3 times. But now it kind of, it feels like it would happen more now because of how I react to things. So, and I forget what the 4th one is. Oh, to feel grounded. So like wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, so that you feel like this is where I am, and you just feel like present in your moment. So that's good. I've kind of been telling her about like all my little frustrations that have been really getting to me. One of them being the grocery shopping, about how often we're going, and like the money that we're spending on it. And so she didn't really have any problem solving things to like not shop that much. And she is gluten-free, dairy-free too, so that's kind of nice that we have that connection. But she goes twice a week too, and she has a family, so I can't even imagine that. She just said like to take my little list with me when I go grocery shopping, so that I'm not getting like really upset about it, and like making sure I'm calm and stuff before I go. And then I've been having my frustrations about my clothes being so big that I haven't really felt like I look good in them. Like I put them on and I feel like a slob and they're hanging off of me. And so she suggested like just go out, and she knows I shop at Value Village, so she's like just go out, buy 1 pair of pants, and so at least you'll have 1 pair that you'll feel good in through the week, something you can look forward to. And I do have 2 pair of like stretchy dress pants that are like they're kind of like tights, but they're dress pant material, and I bought those just this past September, so they fit me really well. And so I would have 3 pair of dress pants per week that would fit me good, and so that would make me feel a lot better about myself. So I did resolve to go buy a pair this weekend, but then in the last few days before the weekend came, I gained 4 pounds. So I feel like if I'm going to be gaining them, then I'm not going to want to go and buy pants. So I'm just kind of waiting it out. Maybe if this week I'll see how they fit with gaining that bit of weight, and if they still are like really baggy on me, then I'll go next weekend and buy a pair that fit me. But it's funny because as soon as I resolved to go buy a pair is when I gained weight. So it's like maybe when I'm not thinking about it or just going through the motions. Physically, I'm doing so good. And mentally I'm good. You can tell that I'm totally back to not totally back, but I'm really back to normal, and like lots of people are noticing that. I don't look like I'm back to normal. I feel like I should have put some makeup on or like put a headband on or something. But anyways, just minimize the screen and just listen to what I'm saying, and then you don't have to look at my frenzy face. So physically, I'm doing so good. Just like with the poos, obviously I'm really regular right now and I'm not reacting, so that's really good. And like I did have a bit of a stomach ache yesterday, but I think something was going through our house because Wes was really sick. So other than that, like physically with my colitis, like I'm doing great. So then I'm kind of getting back into it. So I decided that this weekend there was a Bikram hot yoga, which it's funny, if you asked me about it before, I went, and it was probably one of the worst experiences I've ever had at a gym. And like there's that thing that they say, you never regret a workout. Well, this is the very first workout I ever regretted in my entire life. And I just talked so bad about this place, and then I got an email from them, because I was apparently on their email list from going one time, that they're offering free classes this weekend because they offered new classes. And it was like, we've heard your concerns. We're offering new classes. Come try them out for a whole weekend for free. So I decided I'd give them a second chance, and I went to 2 classes yesterday and 2 classes today. So far, it doesn't really seem like a place that I'd want to go to, full time, but that depends on how the other 2 places are. So then I did 4 classes this weekend at the Bikram Hot Yoga, and then this week I'm trying Canadian Yoga Institute, and then the week after I'm trying Spirit in Motion, which was recommended to me by a few people. Heard nothing but really good things about that place. So I'm going to be trying out all this yoga. So far I feel good. My body was more than capable of completing all 4 classes this weekend, and I went to a yoga class on New Year's Day, Zumba class on New Year's Day. That was free as well. I'm so cheap. That was free as well. So I went, and I didn't have to take one break, so my cardio hasn't suffered as much as I thought it had. So that's really fantastic. And I pushed myself like really hard. So I'm really, really thankful for my body. And like I put my status on Facebook, like I used to talk about how I loved my body because I was able to do all these things, and I was constantly surprising myself. For instance, running that 5K this year, I never even ran further than half a block before, because I hate running, and I never ran on the treadmill. And then out of nowhere, just went to do a 5K and was able to do it. So that's how I was able to always constantly surprise myself. And now, I'm still surprising myself because of how little I was able to do when I was sick. Now I'm able to do so much more, and not as like low key as it was before I was sick. So I'm really, really thankful for that, and especially with everything my body's been going through, and I'm just really thankful for my body and that I'm in. It's just words can't describe. So that's really awesome. I have a new sympathy for sick people. And for those of you who know, or for those of you who don't know, I never missed work. Like, I would always go into work sick, like really sick. And it's not good, because then you get other people sick. But I never missed work. I was always sick, and people always around me were like, you should go home. Or, man, Christina, you're really sick. Like, you need a break. And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And I always just worked through it. So then when people would call in sick, I'd be like, oh, they should be here, and that's not a really good outlook. Like, that's a terrible outlook. And then I took time off for being like ill, obviously, with an autoimmune disease. And I hated myself for it, but got over it. And then I felt bad, like other people were thinking what I usually thought about sick people. So now when somebody is sick, like even just a cold, I'm like, are you okay? Like, I hope you're feeling better, and like, take time off if you need. Like, and I never ever would have said that before. And so this is really like a new me and a new outlook on being sick. And so there's one girl in particular, she was so sick and she was so concerned about going into work, and I just messaged her and I said, don't be concerned about going to work, just take care of yourself. That's so important. But at the same time, I'm so yin and yang lately. So 2 sides of everything. I guess I'm being a Libra too. I'm really annoyed at people who complain about being sick all the time, who had no sympathy for me when I was sick. Like, they really annoy me. Like, I just want them to shut up. You have a cold. Get the fuck over it. Excuse my language, but seriously, get over it. And if you have no sympathy for everything that I went through, you can just shut yourself away. Like, I don't want to see you. I don't want to look at you. I don't want to hear you talk one more sentence. I just have no patience for it. And I talked to this about my counselor because I'm like, is this normal? Like, and like, considering how I thought before, like I had no sympathy for people who are sick and like always felt that they should be at work. It's kind of is on the same level, but it's on a whole other level now, I think. I don't know. I don't give a crap about you and you're cold. I don't. And I mean, sure, if you're like, man, this cold really sucks. Sure, yeah, it totally sucks, and I agree with you, and I'll give you that. I'll give you that your cold sucks. But if you won't stop talking about it, I don't want to hear it, and I am not going to give you 1 ounce of sympathy. Not one. If you had no sympathy for me going through this, I am not going to just give you have none of mine. None of my attention, none of my nothing. Sorry. Just, that's the truth, and I'm putting it out there. That just really, really, really freaking annoys me. Like, so, like, I'm just getting boiled up just thinking about it. And I've just been waiting to get it off my chest because it's been happening for quite some time. And I didn't know how to put it into words. So, there it is. All out there. Then on the positive side, I think I'm finally okay with people eating around me. Like, eating regular food. And I honestly didn't think that I'd get to, like, an okay point, but 2 times just in this past week I had to go to like a 2 birthdays, and then New Year's Eve. Even though New Year's Eve I had a whole bunch of food options, like I was stuffed full New Year's Eve, and thankfully my friend had like a whole bunch of stuff that I could eat, and so that was fantastic. But the birthday before that and then another birthday after that, everyone was eating, and I just either didn't eat anything or I just had my crappy little, chicken, rice, just that. And I'm totally okay. Like I kind of get a little quiet. Like I don't really contribute to conversation during it, but I'm not distraught by it, and that's a huge improvement. And I'm not like wanting to burst into tears and walk away or anything like that. So that's so good. And then I'm getting more satisfaction out of like smelling food, which never ever would have happened. Sure, you can smell that box of donuts, but you can't have one. No, that would never happen. I would have eaten the entire box if nobody was looking, like that's... So smelling food never did anything for me, but just at work, a girl brought a whole box of Nanaimo bars, and oh my gosh, I love Nanaimo bars so much. Oh my gosh, I love them. Like, I almost had like a death fight with somebody at a wedding because there was only one left and I hadn't had one yet. And so she went for it and I almost had a heart attack. And so she ended up giving it to me, and she is so sweet. Anyway, so I have this thing for Nanaimo bars. And so this girl at work brought a whole box of them, and I just kept, she kept emailing and telling people like, have these Nanaimo bars. And I was like, I would have one if I could. So then I took the box and I just smelled it, and I just smelled the whole box of Nanaimo bars, and I got so much out of it. Like I felt like I was on a sugar high just from smelling the box, and I did get some satisfaction out of that. And I never would have had that before, ever, ever, ever. So I feel like that's so great. And I'm really living vicariously through people who are eating delicious things. And I never used to be a bad influence with food. Like being health conscious, I'd always be like, no, like don't have 2 donuts. That's perfectly fine. Think about going for a walk or something. I'd never tell somebody to have more than 1 donut. But now I'm like, hey, it was at our New Year's Eve party. There was a whole case of brownies, and there was a guy there who was enjoying all of the other food in front of us, and I was telling him like, how's that taste? That must be really good, huh? And living through that. And then I'm like, you should have a brownie. And I think I said you should have a brownie probably like 10 times. I don't think he ever did, but I was getting like a kick out of that, like living through people. So I feel like my relationship with food isn't so dark now. So that's really great. I've been very open about my feelings on here, about being angry and about, trying to accept things. And I feel like people still don't quite understand what I went through. And I have some people who are like, well, you were really upset there, or like, are you mad at me or something like, are you kidding me? Like, what do you want from me? Like, I I went through so much, and I just did the best I could every day, and I'm still just doing the best that I can, and I don't know what anyone else can expect out of me, anything more that I could possibly give. So that's kind of upsetting that people are feeling that way. But like I said in one of my last videos, if you have a problem with the way that I'm dealing with this, I'm sorry, but this is me, and I think I've dealt with this like the best I possibly can, and I feel so good about myself mentally and physically now that I know that everything I did was the best I could have done it, and everything that I did was the best for me, and I can say that now. I mean, I was so doubtful going through, like, what else could I be doing mentally? What else could I be doing to get everything off my chest? And knowing how fast I came through this. If you look at it, it was the 4th, let's see, looking at my calendar, November 4th. November 4th was the day that I went to the ER, knowing that something was wrong with me. So that was only 2 months ago. So let's just let that sink in for a bit. I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and I came through and self-healed through diet, through research, through everything else that I did, and I have come so far since then, and only thanks to myself, my own self, and everything that I did. Yes, I had support along the way, completely 100% support from a lot of people, but I was the one who overcame it. And I knew that I would, and I said in some of those videos, like on the brink of tears, telling me and telling you that I would get through this. And I may have not believed it, but I knew deep down that I would. And I just can't describe how that feels. And somebody at work just got a diagnosis a couple of weeks ago. She has an autoimmune disease, different from mine, but she's doing a lot of the same things, like for self-treatment. And I just want her to have so much hope. And I feel like she's dealing with it a lot better than I did. But she has admitted to crying and crying a lot. And so I just wanted to reach out to her and just be like, I know exactly what you're going through, and it's going to be okay. And if I didn't think that I could be this person. Like, I was terrified to look at other people's videos to know the struggle that they were going through. And now I feel like I get so much out of watching those videos. And I'm re-watching my videos just to see how far I've come. And it makes me feel so good. I can't even describe it to you. So I'm going to keep doing these updates because I am still coming across things along the way and getting things off my chest. And like the mental part was something I wanted to keep updating everyone on. But now that I feel so good, I just don't feel like it's something that I need to hash out all the time. But I feel like maybe I'll start doing movie reviews because I've wanted to do it for quite some time. I thought it would be cooler if my husband and I did it together, but he's kind of camera shy, or like just shy in general. So I think maybe I'll start doing some movie reviews, and they won't be like professional movie reviews. Like they're not like, oh, the lighting was great. And I do have like quite a bit of knowledge about like lighting and camera angles and direction and stuff like that, but I don't think that I would go into it and be like, I either liked it or I didn't. I recommend it or I don't. So let's see, I did watch Annie, and the only thing I can say about Annie is that it just made me really want to watch the old one. I had a really hard time keeping up with the storyline because they changed so much, and they added original songs. So I did take it for what it was. The chemistry between Annie and oh gosh, I'm so bad at this. Whatever the guy was that played Mr. Warbucks. Damn it! Jamie Foxx? I don't know. He was in Ray. Anyways, so they had really great chemistry, but Cameron Diaz just ruined it, and I knew that she would. Like, she is just, to me, and everyone else that I've said this to has completely disagreed with me, but I think she's just a pretty face and a hot body. Like, that's all that I feel about Cameron Diaz, and I love, like, her spirit. Like, she's always, like, really happy and, like, really she just has a good spirit. And in this movie, she just wasn't mean enough. Like, Miss Hannigan's one of my favorite parts of the original Annie, and she just butchered it. Like, she just butchered it. So it just made me want to watch the old one. So, like, watch it just for fun. Like, just have fun with it. But then you're going to want to watch the old one. And I watched When the Game Stands Tall, which is a football movie. And it's like a religious movie. And the only reason I knew that is because we bought it on the Red Box because we haven't been illegally doing movies lately for reasons. So we've been trying to find cheaper ways to get movies, because we watch so many of them that, like, renting for $6 is just the same as going to the theater. And we do see a lot in the theater, like almost one a week, like overall throughout the year. But we also watch a lot of movies at home too. So anyways, When the Game Stands Tall was religious because we bought it on the Red Box, like one of those portable rental centers, and it only cost us 53 cents because they had a coupon for us. And all the previews ahead of time were all like religious movies. So I was like, well, I guess maybe this is religious. And it kind of was, like they prayed in school and all of that. But it was a good movie. It was uplifting, but it wasn't very shocking. Like, and it's based on a true story, but everything that came and happened didn't really like wow me, because I just felt like you knew it was coming. But it was a good sports movie. Like, it had some good spirit to it. But like the finale is usually like worth so much. Like the final game in a sports movie is usually worth so much, and this one was worth a lot more for different reasons. So, I mean, you don't have to watch it. I watched it for you, and I'll talk to you about it if you have any questions. And that's all that I've watched. We're rewatching Harry Potter, because since we went to Harry Potter World in Universal Studios, we kind of have like this Harry Potter itch, so we're rewatching all the Potters again. And that's all for today. So I hope everyone has a really good week. And sorry about my rant, but it was necessary. And there's been more than enough rants on here that you know that that's just what I'm capable of. So thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting me and always being there for me. And just have a great week. Bye.